The night was cold, dark and strange. A deep wind moved through the trees around the small alien village, and every creature became silent, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. In the center of the village, near a large fire, the people gathered with worried faces. They whispered to each other, looking again and again toward the thick forest that stood like a giant wall around them. No one wanted to say it loudly, but every mind was thinking the same thing. The monster will come tonight. The villagers believed there was a human living alone inside the forest. A man with scars on his face, strange weapons on his back, and strength not normal for their world. They never tried to speak with him. They never walked close to his home. They only told stories of fear, stories of danger, stories of a creature who looks human but is not human. Children were taught to stay away. Adults whispered warnings. No one ever checked if the stories were true. But fear grows fast when it sits inside a heart for many years. Tonight, the fear felt even stronger. The village leader stood near the fire and spoke in a shaky voice. Do not go near the forest. The human monster is angry. Someone saw lights. In the trees, something is wrong. People gasped, holding their children close. Even the brave ones stepped back. No one understood that the truth was far from the stories they believed. While the villagers watched the flames, something unexpected happened. A small sound, soft but full of pain, came from the far side of the village. A child's voice, crying. Everyone turned. A young alien girl ran across the ground, her steps weak and desperate. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes were wide with fear and tears. Her name was Lyra, an 11-year-old child who never truly fit in the village. People often looked at her with judgment, calling her strange, calling her cursed. Tonight their cruel words became worse. 3 adults hurried behind her, shouting, "Stop that girl! She must not run into the forest." But Lyra did not stop. She cried harder and kept running. Something inside her told her to run far away from these people, far away from the voices that always hurt her. She reached the old wooden fence at the edge of the village. Beyond that fence was the place everyone feared, the dark forest, home of the monster. The villagers stopped at the fence. They would not take one more step, but Lyra did. She climbed over the fence and disappeared into the shadows. Everyone froze in shock. She will die. One woman cried, "The monster will take her." Another shouted. The leader shook his head. "We cannot go after her. No one goes into that forest at night." Fear won again. Inside the forest, Lyra ran until her legs could no longer move fast. Branches brushed her arms, and cold air hit her face. She tripped, fell, stood again, and kept moving. She did not know where she was going. She only knew she was running from pain, running towards something, maybe hope, maybe danger. She no longer cared. Suddenly, she reached a small clearing. A wooden cabin stood there, quiet and dark. Smoke rose weakly from a chimney. Tools lay on the side. Strange metal boxes were stacked near the door. Lyra stared at it with trembling breath. This must be it, the place of the monster. Before she could turn back, a sound came from inside the cabin, a slow, heavy step. The door opened. A tall human man stepped out. His hair was dark, his beard short, his clothes old and torn. His arms were strong, his hands scarred. His eyes looked sharp but tired. He held a small lamp, and the warm light fell across Lyra's frightened face. For a long moment, the world stopped. The only sound was Lyra's shaking breath. The man looked at her quietly, without anger, without fear. His face showed surprise. "Not danger," Lyra slowly whispered, her voice weak and scared. Are you the monster?" The man did not answer. He only stepped forward, careful, gentle, as if she was a frightened animal that might run away. He knelt beside her, lifted her up slowly, and held her steady. The villagers who chased her watched from far behind the trees. When they saw the human, They screamed and ran back to the village in terror, but the man did not chase them. He looked at the girl in his arms and spoke in a low voice, almost like a whisper, "You're safe now." And in that moment, for the first time in her life, Lyra believed it. Ronan carried the small alien girl into his cabin with slow, steady steps. He did not know who she was or why she ran into the forest at night, but he could see the fear in her eyes. Her arms shook, her clothes were torn, and a thin cut bled across her knee. He set her gently on a wooden chair, then turned to light 2 more lamps, filling the cabin with a soft golden glow. Lyra watched everything with wide eyes. This was the place every villager feared. Yet it felt warmer than her own home. Ronan took a clean cloth and knelt beside her. "Let me see your leg," he said softly. Lyra hesitated. She had been pushed, insulted, and ignored so many times that kindness felt strange to her. But something about the human's calm face made her feel safe, so she lifted her leg slowly. Ronan cleaned the wound with gentle hands. Lyra bit her lip, expecting pain, expecting him to be rough like the villagers. But he was careful, almost too careful, like he feared hurting her. "You're very brave," he said. No one had ever told her that before. When he finished, he brought her a cup of warm herbal drink. Lyra held it with both hands, the heat calming her shaking fingers. She looked around the cabin's simple shelves, metal tools she did not understand, old earth books, and a strange device glowing softly in the corner. This was not a monster's home. It looked like a home of a lonely person. "What is your name?" she asked quietly. "Ronan," he said. "And yours?" "Lyra," he nodded. "Why were they chasing you, Lyra?" The question made her look down. Her small shoulders tightened. They say I am wrong," she whispered. "Different. Cursed. I do not learn fast. I do not look like them. I do not talk like them. They say the stars made a mistake when they made me." Ronan felt something heavy in his chest. He understood those words too well. "So you ran?" he asked. Lyra nodded, a tear sliding down her cheek. "I had nowhere else to go. I just ran. Until my legs stopped. I did not know where I was going." She paused, then glanced at him with a mix of fear and hope. "And then, I ended here, at your home. The place they say belongs to the monster." Ronan looked straight into her eyes. "Am I a monster to you?" She studied his face, the scars, the tired eyes, the strong hands. "You don't look like one," she said honestly. "But maybe monsters can look normal." Her voice was soft, not rude. It was the innocent thought of a child who only knew fear. Ronan gave a small smile. "I am not a monster, Lyra." Before she could speak again, the cabin's window shook. A shadow moved outside. Ronan stood up fast, his soldier instincts awake. He took a metal tool from his shelf, a simple scanner, and checked the area. "Is it the villagers?" Lyra asked, voice trembling. "No," Ronan said. "Something else." He stepped outside. Lyra followed but stayed close to the door. A small creature, a forest animal, lay on the ground, hurt. Ronan lifted it, checked its wounds, and helped it limp away. Lyra watched with surprise. "You help animals too?" "Everything in this forest tries to survive," Ronan said. "Just like us." For a moment, Lyra forgot all her fear. She stepped outside and stood beside him. The forest felt different. Now not scary, not dark, but quiet and peaceful. "You live all alone?" she asked. "Yes, why?" Ronan paused. He looked up at the moon, as if searching for an answer hidden in the sky. "Because people fear what they do not understand. It is easier for them to call someone a monster than to know the truth." Lyra's chest tightened. She knew that feeling too well. She whispered, "I think you understand me more than anyone in the village." Ronan looked at her with surprise. Her words were simple, but they touched something deep inside him, something he thought he had buried long ago. "You should rest," Ronan said gently. You are safe here." Lyra walked back inside and sat on the chair again. She felt warm, calm, and strangely protected. For the first time in her life, she felt like someone cared. As Ronan closed the door, he saw something in the distance, two bright eyes watching from behind the trees. Someone was spying on them, but whoever it was. They left quickly. Ronan frowned. Trouble was coming. Inside, Lyra looked at him with innocent eyes, unaware of the danger growing outside. "Ronan," she whispered, "if you are not a monster, then why does the village fear you?" Ronan did not answer, because the truth was darker than she could imagine. Morning light touched the village, but peace did not come with it. People were restless. Their eyes kept turning toward the forest, toward the place they feared, yet could not stop talking about. Rumors spread faster than the wind. The monster took the girl. He will eat her. It is our fault. We let her run. Voices filled with fear, guilt, and anger mixed together until the whole village felt ready to break apart. Inside the leader's house, a group of elders sat around a long wooden table. Their faces were hard, their eyes narrow with worry. The fire crackled behind them. "We must bring her back," one elder said. "But she went freely," another replied. The leader slammed his hand on the table. "It does not matter. If the Dako human keeps her, our village will look weak. And weakness invites danger." No one spoke after that. But the truth they all avoided hung in the air like smoke. They did not care about Lyra. They cared about their pride. One elder leaned forward. "We should tell the villagers that the humans stole her. Fear will make them follow us." The leader nodded, liking the idea far too quickly. Spread the message. Outside, a group of young villagers gathered to hear the new news. "He kidnapped her," someone said. "He is building an army," another added. "He wants to use the girl as bait." None of it was true. But fear rarely listens to truth. Meanwhile, in the forest, Lyra sat near the small table in Ronan's cabin, eating warm food he prepared. It was simple, but to her, it felt like a feast. She watched him move around the cabin with calm steps. Every action he made was gentle, even when he handled metal tools or checked his devices. She felt safe. "Ronan," she asked softly, "will the villagers come for me?" "Yes," he answered without turning. People do not like when someone they look down on suddenly runs away. Lyra lowered her eyes. "They do not want me because they love me. They want me so they can punish me." Ronan glanced at her. He could see the pain behind her quiet voice. "You do not deserve that," he said. A soft smile touched her face, small but real. "No one ever said that to me." Before Ronan could answer, a sharp noise echoed in the forest, something stepping on dry branches. He moved to the window fast, scanning the trees. "Is it the animals again?" Lyra asked. "No," Ronan said. "Someone else." He saw movement, a shadow slipping behind a tree trunk. Someone was watching them. Ronan stepped outside, his hand resting near his side where his old human weapon hung. "Who's there?" he called. No reply. He scanned the area again, listening to every rustle, every breath of wind. Finally he turned back toward the cabin, but as he walked inside, he knew the truth. The village was planning something. Back in the village, a secret meeting. The leader gathered the strongest villagers in a closed room. They spoke in low voices, as if the walls might hear them. "We will go to the forest tonight," the leader said. "We will bring the girl home. And if the monster refuses," he raised his hand slowly, drawing a thin line across his throat. The message was clear. A few villagers hesitated. "But the human saved us once, years ago." "That was not saving," the leader snapped. "It was trickery. He wanted us to trust him. Then his people attacked our borders." "That is not true," someone whispered. But lies were easier to believe when truth carried shame. The leader stepped forward. We lost our pride that day. We looked weak. And weakness brings death. If we remove him now, no one will ever call us weak again. He did not mention the real reason. Long ago they betrayed Ronan. They left him alone after he saved them. They abandoned him without a word, and guilt is a powerful poison. Guilt turns truth into hatred. Meanwhile, Lyra asks a dangerous question. Lyra sat on the wooden floor, watching Ronan fix a small device. His hands were steady, his focus sharp. "Ronan," she whispered, "why did you come to our world? Did you come to hurt people?" His hands froze. He looked at her slowly. His eyes were tired, heavy with memories he did not want to remember. "No," he said, "I came to help. But things changed." "What changed?" she asked. Ronan opened his mouth to answer, then closed it again. He could not tell her the truth. Not yet. It would hurt her too much. Instead he said, "Lyra, sometimes people fear the ones who save them, because it reminds them they were weak." Lyra felt those words like a weight on her heart. "Is that why they fear you?" she asked. Ronan looked away from her. "That," he said quietly, "and something much darker." Trouble was coming for both of them. And the village's darkest secret was about to rise again. Night returned to the forest, thick and heavy like a dark blanket. The air grew colder, and even the leaves stopped moving. It felt as if the whole world was waiting for something. Something dangerous. Ronan sat near the cabin door, sharpening a small metal blade. It wasn't a weapon for fighting people. It was a tool for cutting wood or rope. But he kept it close, because trouble always came when the forest became this quiet. Inside, Lyra tried to read one of his old earth books. The letters were strange, but she liked touching the pages. They felt warm, safe, and full of stories far from her world. Suddenly, a deep roar shook the ground. The book fell from her hands. Ronan stood instantly. "That sound," Lyra whispered, eyes wide with fear. Ronan moved toward the window and looked into the endless darkness. "Stay behind me," he said. Another roar echoed closer this time, louder, stronger. It was not a normal forest animal. This was something older, bigger, something deadly. The trees began to shake. Branches cracked. Then, from between the shadows, a massive creature stepped into view. Its body was covered in sharp scales that glowed faintly. Its 4 legs were thick like tree trunks, and its long jaw dripped with venom. 2 burning yellow eyes stared straight at the cabin. Lyra gasped. "It's a hollow beast." Ronan didn't look surprised. "I know. But hollow beasts never come this close to homes." "They don't," Ronan said. "Unless something pushed them out of their territory." He didn't have to say what that something was. The villagers. Their scouting, their spying, their fear-driven actions in the forest had awakened predators. The beast growled again, shaking the ground so hard that dust fell from the cabin walls. Lyra grabbed Ronan's arm. "What do we do?" "Follow me," Ronan said calmly. He opened a small trapdoor in the floor, revealing a hidden passage filled with strange devices and wires. Lyra stared at them in surprise, but there was no time to ask questions. Ronan took 2 small glowing spheres, pressed them, and their light turned bright blue. "What are those?" Lyra whispered. "Human tech," Ronan said. "They won't kill the beast, but they will distract it." He stepped outside. Lyra wanted to stop him, but her voice froze in her throat. Ronan walked forward slowly, holding the spheres. The beast lowered its head, muscles tightening. It was ready to attack. "Come on," Ronan whispered. "Look at me." He threw 1 sphere far to the left. The blue light exploded like a small star. The beast roared and turned its head toward the glowing spot. Ronan threw the 2nd sphere to the right. Another burst of light flashed. The creature became confused, swinging its head back and forth. Then it charged, not toward the lights, toward Ronan. "Ronan!" Lyra screamed. Ronan leaped back, rolled across the ground, and grabbed a long metal rod he kept hidden behind a tree. It wasn't a weapon, but he used it like one. He slammed it against the beast's leg, making it stagger. The beast swung its giant tail. Ronan jumped aside, but the tail clipped his arm, sending him crashing into the dirt. Lyra ran out of the cabin. "Stop! Please, don't hurt him!" The beast raised its head and looked at her now. "No!" Ronan shouted, "Lyra, move!" But she stood frozen. The creature stepped toward her, drool dripping from its jaws. Lyra trembled, unable to run, unable to scream. The beast's shadow covered her small body. Ronan pushed himself up, blood running from his arm. He grabbed the metal rod again and sprinted toward the creature with everything he had. He slammed the rod into the beast's jaw. It roared in pain and turned back to him. Ronan stood between Lyra and the monster, his body shaking, breath heavy, but eyes determined. He would not let the girl be harmed. He lifted the rod again, but something unexpected happened. The beast stopped. It stared at Ronan for a long moment, then stepped back. Its glowing eyes softened, as if recognizing something deep within him. It let out a low rumble, then slowly turned and disappeared into the darkness. Silence returned to the forest. Lyra rushed to Ronan. "Are you hurt?" "Why?" "Did it leave?" Ronan wiped the dirt from his face. "Some creatures can sense when someone is not an enemy." She looked at him with awe. "You protected me. Even when the beast wanted to kill you." Ronan did not answer. He only looked into the forest where the creature vanished. Lyra saw the truth in his eyes. He wasn't afraid of monsters. He was afraid of being one. Inside the forest, unseen, another pair of eyes watched them, the villagers' scouts, and they now believed Ronan was even more dangerous than before. The next morning began with a quiet that did not feel peaceful. The forest was still. Even the birds stayed silent, as if they sensed a storm coming. Ronan stepped outside the cabin, checking the trees, the shadows, the ground, everything. Lyra stood in the doorway, holding one of his old earth books close to her chest. "Something is wrong," Ronan said. Lyra nodded because she felt it too. A heavy feeling pressed on her heart. It felt like the world was holding its breath again, waiting for danger. Ronan saw footprints near the cabin, fresh ones, human ones. They were not from him. They were not from Lyra. The villagers had come during the night, and they had watched, and they would return. Ronan walked back inside. "Lyra, pack your things, just in case." "I have nothing to pack," she said sadly. Ronan paused. Those simple words hit him deeper than he expected. A child with nothing. No home, no safe place, no belongings. No one. Then stay close to May, he said. Before she could answer, a loud horn echoed through the forest. Lyra froze. Ronan's eyes hardened. The horn sounded again, followed by voices, angry, loud, growing closer. Leaves shook as many feet moved through the forest. The villagers were coming, not in secret this time. Ronan stepped outside and closed the cabin door behind him. Lyra rushed to the window and watched, fear rising in her chest. Through the trees, a large group of villagers appeared. They carried spears, ropes, fire torches, and shields. Their faces were set with anger, fear, and something worse, determination. The village leader stood in front. He pointed straight at Ronan. "There he is," he shouted. "The monster who stole the girl." Ronan lifted his hands calmly. "I stole no one. She's a child of our village." The leader yelled, "You hid her in your home." "She came to me," Ronan said. "Running from you." A few villagers hesitated. They remembered Lyra's sad eyes, her bruises, the way she was always alone. But fear shouted louder than guilt. The leader stepped forward. "We will take her back, and we will punish you for keeping her." Ronan didn't raise his voice. "Lyra is not yours to punish." Inside the cabin, Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She touched the window glass, wishing she could protect Ronan, the way he protected her. But she was just a small girl, and outside there were more than 20 armed villagers. The leader lifted his spear. "Bring him down." The villagers charged. Ronan did not move. He did not grab his weapon. He only stood there, calm as stone. When the first villager swung at him, Ronan dodged easily, stepping aside with soldier-trained precision. He caught the man's arm, pushed gently, and let him fall without injury. Another came from behind. Ronan blocked the attack with his forearm and pushed him backward. He fought without hurting them, because he wasn't their enemy. The villagers grew more aggressive. Spears flew. Rocks were thrown. Torches waved dangerously close to the trees. Inside, Lyra's heart raced. She couldn't watch anymore. She ran out of the cabin. "No! Stop!" she screamed. Everyone froze. She placed herself between Ronan and the villagers. "Leave him alone." "He saved me. He helped me. You never did." The villagers stared at her in shock. Her voice was shaking, but her eyes were brave. "He gave me food," she cried. "He healed my wound. He protected me from a hollow beast. You never protected me from anything." The villagers murmured. Some looked ashamed. But the leader's face twisted with anger. "Child," he snapped, "he fooled you. He is dangerous." "No!" Lyra shouted. "You are the dangerous ones. You hurt me every day." The leader grabbed Lyra's arm. "Ronan, step forward instantly. Let her go. She belongs to us." The leader yelled. "She is not an object," Ronan replied. "She is a child." The leader tightened his grip. Ronan's voice turned cold. "I said, let her go." For a moment, time stopped. The leader looked at Ronan's eyes and saw the same fire that once saved their village long ago. A fire they chose to fear instead of honor. He let Lyra's arm slip free, but his anger did not fade. "This ends tonight." The leader whispered, "Either you leave this world, or the village will force you to." Ronan did not answer. He only stood in front of Lyra like a wall, silent but unbreakable. The villagers stepped back slowly, regrouping. Torches burned brighter. The forest grew hotter. A war between fear and truth was beginning, and Lyra knew something terrible. The villagers had not come to talk. They had come to destroy. The villagers slowly stepped back, forming a half circle. Around Ronan and Lyra, the burning torches made their shadows stretch across the ground like long twisted fingers. The forest held its breath again, quiet, tense, waiting for the next move. Ronan stood tall. Blood dried on his arm from the fight with the hollow beast. Lyra clung to his side, her small hand shaking against his. The village leader pointed his spear at Ronan. "This human is a danger. He hides secrets. He hides weapons. He hides the girl. He must be removed." Ronan's eyes narrowed, but his voice stayed calm. "Lyra is here because she was running for her life. You chased her, not me." The leader ignored the truth. Fear made him blind, and guilt made him angry. One villager stepped forward, uncertain. "Leader, the girl says he saved her." "Maybe we—" "Silence," the leader snapped. "The human is lying. He always lied. Even years ago." Lyra looked up at Ronan. "What does he mean?" Ronan didn't answer. His jaw tightened. The leader smirked. "Tell her, human. Tell her what you really are." Ronan stayed silent. The villagers stepped closer again, spears raised. Torches lifted. Lyra single quotes, S. Voice cracked. "Stop it, you don't even know him." "We know enough," the leader said. "We know he came from the sky. We know he brought strange tools. We know he caused the great fear." Great fear. The words fell heavy in the air. Lyra looked around, confused. "What is the great fear?" The leader laughed. "You don't know? Of course you don't. You were too young." "But he remembers," the villagers murmured. Some nodded. Some looked away, guilt tightening their faces. Ronan finally spoke. The great fear was not caused by me. Lair, the leader barked. Your people attacked our borders. They destroyed our crops. They frightened our animals. And then you stayed behind like a spy. That's not what happened, Ronan said quietly. The leader raised his spear. Tell your version then. Tell the girl your story. Ronan looked at Lyra. Her eyes were wide with fear and hope. Hope that he would not become what they said he was. He took a slow breath. My team crashed here, he said. We were not soldiers, we were explorers. We came to learn, not to harm. Lyra listened with full focus. When we crashed, I left the ship to look for help, but the villagers found us first. They saw our tools, our lights, our injured team. They thought we were invaders. What happened to your team? Lyra whispered. Ronan looked at the ground. They died. Not by the villagers' hands, but because I could not save them. The villagers shifted uncomfortably. Then the elder, an older villager with silver eyes, stepped forward. It is true, he said. Every villager turned to him. I was there, the elder continued. I saw the crash. I saw the fire. I saw your team dying. I saw you carry 2 of them on your back, trying to save them. And I saw how we failed you. The leader's face tightened with anger. Do not speak lies, old man. But the elder shook his head. The only lies here are yours. A wave of shock moved through the crowd. The elder pointed at Ronan. The human fought for us. When a giant beast attacked the village years ago, we ran. He stayed. He saved our children. He risked his life. He took scars from that fight. The villagers stared at Ronan's scarred face, suddenly seeing it differently. He did not stay because he was a spy, the elder said. He stayed because he was abandoned. His own people died. And we turned our backs on him out of fear. Silence fell. Deep, painful silence. Even the leader lowered his spear, his eyes full of rage, but also fear of the truth. Lyra stepped forward and grabbed Ronan's hand tightly. You saved them? She whispered. Ronan nodded once. It doesn't matter now. It matters to me, she said. Tears filled her eyes. If he is a monster, then why did he save you? Why did he save me? Why does he protect everyone except himself? Ronan looked down at her, shocked by her courage. Lyra's voice grew stronger. You call him a monster, but monsters do not heal wounds. Monsters do not protect children. Monsters do not give kindness to those who hurt them. She pressed her forehead against his arm. If he is a monster, then monsters can be daddies too. The villagers gasped. Ronan froze, body still, breath caught, heart shaken. No one had ever spoken to him with love. Not since the day he crashed. The leader stepped back, his face pale. Fear no longer controlled the villagers, truth did. The elder spoke again. Let the child stay with the one who protects her. And let us face our own guilt. Ronan held Lyra close. The villagers lowered their weapons, but the leader's eyes burned with something dangerous. This truth was not the end. It was the beginning of the real fight. The forest was silent after the truth was spoken, but it was a different kind of silence now, one mixed with shame, confusion, and slow awakening. The villagers lowered their weapons, unsure of what to do next. Lyra still stood beside Ronan, holding his hand tightly, as if afraid he might disappear. Ronan felt her small fingers shaking, but her grip was firm, brave. In that moment, he understood something. No one had ever held onto him like that since the crash. No one had ever needed him in a way that felt pure, gentle, and without fear. The elder stepped forward. Ronan saved us once, and we repaid him with fear. Today, let us not make the same mistake again. Some villagers nodded slowly, guilt heavy on their faces, but the leader's face twisted. His pride was breaking, and he could not bear the Wait, his voice trembled with anger. You expect me to accept him? He shouted. A human? A danger? A stranger from the sky? The elder answered calmly, yes, because he is more human than any of us. The leader's eyes darkened. He raised his spear again. He turned the girl against us. He made us look weak. I will not allow this. He charged forward. Lyra screamed, no. Ronan pushed Lyra gently behind him and stood firm. He did not lift a weapon. He did not take a fighting stance. His voice was soft but steady. I will not fight you. The leader roared, his spear aimed at Ronan's heart, but before it could strike, something unexpected happened. A villager grabbed the leader's arm, then another, and another. Enough. One shouted, we will not attack an innocent man. Said another, he saved us. A woman said, tears in her eyes. We should have saved him too. The leader tried to pull free, but the villagers held him back. For the first time, they stood against fear. They stood against their own mistakes. The elder looked at the leader with tired eyes. Pride does not protect us. Truth does. Slowly, the villagers lowered the leader's spear. His anger faded into defeat. His body sagged, and he dropped to his knees, unable to understand how his power had disappeared so quickly. Ronan stepped forward, not to harm him, but to speak. I never wanted to fight, he said. I only wanted peace and kindness. The same kindness I gave that day when I saved your children. The same kindness I gave Lyra. The leader looked up broken. For the first time, he saw Ronan not as a monster, but as a man who had been carrying scars inside and outside for many years. Ronan turned away from him and looked at Lyra. Are you afraid? He asked softly. She shook her head. No, not with you. Something warm cracked inside Ronan's chest. Lyra took both of his hands and whispered, you don't have to be alone anymore. Dad, the word hit him like lightning. He froze. His breath stopped. His heart stumbled. No one had ever called him that. No one had ever given him a name filled with love. He knelt in front of her, eyes soft, voice shaking for the first time. Lyra, are you sure? Yes, she said without fear. You saved me. You cared for me. You protected me even when it hurt you. A monster cannot do these things. Only a father can. Ronan placed a gentle hand on her head, his voice thick. Then I accept. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Tears rolled down his The villagers watched this moment in silence. Some cried softly. Some bowed their heads. Some stepped forward and offered quiet words. We are sorry. We were wrong. You are welcome to join us. Ronan looked at Lyra. What do you want? Her eyes brightened. I want a home with you, he nodded. Then anywhere we go will be our home. Slowly, the villagers opened a path through the forest toward the village. The elder gestured. Walk with us, Ronan. Walk with your daughter. Ronan placed his hand on Lyra's shoulder. She held his arm proudly. Together, they stepped toward the village that once feared him, the same village that once hurt her. But today, everything was different. Today, they walked not as a monster and a cursed girl, but as a father and his child. As they reached the first house, Lyra leaned closer and whispered with a smile, I told them, Ronan, monsters can be daddies. He laughed softly for the first time in years. And for the first time since he crashed on this strange world, he felt something real, warm, and human. A family, a future, a home.